and today I want to give my quick thoughts and opinion on the movie Sick. Now this will be a spoiler-free review since a lot of people still haven't seen the movie. So when you're done watching my review and you're interested in the movie, if you have a Peacock subscription, go on over and check the movie out, or check it out now and come back and see what I have to say about it. Now Sick is a movie that originally debuted and crossed the country in a couple of festivals in 2022, written by Kevin Williamson. That's right, the same guy that gave us great movies such as Scream, Faculty, and many others. And it tells the story of a group of young adults going into isolation in April of 2020, just as COVID is taking foot in the United States. And for some unknown reason, they're being stalked by a killer. So the question is the movie centered around COVID any good? Well, before we get started, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe, hit the share button, go ahead and hit the like button if you like what you see. And when you're done watching my video, go on over to Story Sparks, check his channel out. It's another creator that I come across in the last few weeks. He also do movie content. He breaks down movies and give his different analogies and symbolisms that's going on in movies. And he have a unique take on different things, so go check him out. Help me and him get to 100 subscribers by the end of the month. And also check out Rudy from Gen X and CP from Willis Gridia. Both of those guys are phenomenal. If you like content dealing with movies, and they also do other things too, go check them out. They also do a lot of live streams together along with other YouTubers. They're very creative at what they do. They're very entertaining, so go check them out. Help them both get to 10,000 subscribers. They deserve it. Let them know that I sent you. And with that out the way, let's get on with the show. Like I said before, this is a movie dealing around the COVID pandemic when it first hit the United States. So it's taking us back in April of 2020. So when you watch this movie, you have to keep in mind where we was at as a country, as a world, as a matter of fact. And the things that we thought, the ways you could catch COVID, compared to the ways that we know now that you can and cannot.
Oh no. No, 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 no. Oh no. No, 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 no.
So the first thing is, let's start with the positives. And the first positive about this movie is, regardless of the name Sick and some of the trailers, this movie is not gender driven. When I first saw the trailers, I thought this was going to be some movie just pushing the opinion whether you should or shouldn't wear a mask and dealing with the COVID pandemic.
Oh my God! Just one moment. Unlock the door! Unlock the door! You have a mask, don't you? Your mask. What? I can't let you in. It's not safe. Are you kidding me, lady? Please!
But to be honest with you, that COVID is just a backdrop to what's going on. It's just a time frame of where the movie take place. And really, except for the first act when they mentioned the pandemic starting and little parts here and there remind you that the pandemic started, there is no agenda, nothing that's pushing any political views on COVID. It's just there. It's just something to deal with. And it leads into my second positive. It's in a clever way to explain why this group of young adults are so isolated.
That's really clever.
By COVID being in the background, by being the backdrop of what's going on, and the pandemic just hitting, and we're not sure of how this thing spread, it really cleverly explains why they will go off and be so far away. Because the area that they go to, they're isolated where I think the girl says their neighbor's 5 or 6 miles down the road. And that's pretty isolated. So also, by this being a lower budget movie, one thing they did do, they didn't waste the money on talent and production. What they did was limit it to one specific area. A lot of times in good classic horror movies, that isolation feeling, that dread of no one coming to help, that always amps up the movie and makes it better. My next positive is, this is just a good old-fashioned slasher. Like I said before, by not having any agenda, pushing any narrative, this is just a good old slash 'em, beat 'em up movie. This kind of take you back to the 80s style, maybe early 90s, where we don't really need too much explaining background of why a killer is doing what they're doing. Even though as the movie goes on and you find out the killer motives and it start to make more sense of why they're doing what they're doing. It's not at the forefront. It's not trying to be ultra smart like they're doing now in movies where they're trying to be so smart that it takes away from the story, it takes away from the tension. And when you're dealing with slashers, that's always a positive. My next positive is, by this being a movie written by Kevin Williamson, there are a lot of plot twists that I, as a horror movie fan, who normally catch on to a lot of stuff, I didn't see them coming. There's one that I did see, but all the rest of them came out of nowhere, blindsided you, and it's cleverly written. So when you're watching this movie and you thinking one thing happened and the plot take you somewhere else, it's a pleasant surprise.
I didn't see that coming, James.
Getting into my last and probably my biggest positive of the movie, and it was so refreshing. The young adults in this movie, they're not dumb. They don't do dumb things to put themselves in bad situations. They actually fight back, to where a lot of times the killer is getting his tail kicked. And it's not just stereotypical girl run in the woods, fall, the killer catch up to her and cut her, or somebody make the dumbest decision, go off, be isolated, and end up getting themselves and a whole group killed. The young adults in this movie, they're actually pretty smart.
Interesting.
They use their wits and intelligence, and they actually think things out. It may not always work to all of their advantages, but they don't do dumb things, so the movie is very believable because the characters are believable. Now, moving on to my only immense aspect of the movie. By COVID being in the background and this movie taking place in April of 2020, where the pandemic first hit the United States, this movie may not be for everyone. If you're a person that got sick with COVID, especially at the beginning, and had a very bad experience with the virus, or worse, you lost a loved one because of the virus, you may not be ready for this type of movie, or for this movie to bring up what was going on then. I don't think we're far enough away from the start of the pandemic for this to be something in the back of our conscience. Like if there was a movie that came out during the time of the bird flu or the Spanish flu, we're far away from that, where it don't really affect anyone or bring up any negative feelings. So if you're one of those people, maybe just skip this movie. But for everyone else, I'm gonna say this: I have no negatives about this movie. This is a great movie. As you could tell from what I'm saying, I'm going to recommend this movie for anyone. I'm not going to really give it a rating. I'm going to let you be the judge of what it is, but I do recommend, if you do have a Peacock account, or it's on Peacock right now, including your subscription, go check it out.
Check it out.
So for me, Sick is a wonderful movie that everyone should watch right now. So what do you guys think? Have you seen the movie? Do you agree with me? Or do you think this is a horrible slasher? Let me know in the comments down below. Remember, my opinion is just my opinion, not the right opinion. So let's talk about it in the comment section, and keep your eye open for my next video.